am delighted to follow the noble Baroness Lady Smith of Lanvasse and congratulate the noble Lord Wigley on bringing before us this important and indeed timely bill. We have a sense of unfinished business here, and indeed it's not too late, as we've heard, for the government to pick this up with its own Crown Estate Bill, and we saw the possibility of that happening demonstrated earlier today in your Lordship's session. I think it's worth noting the point made by the noble and learned Lord Thomas of Congede about that we're talking about here land resources that are a result of conquest. And I think it's interesting that in the current global position that we're in, it's a green principle, and it's to believe in self-determination, to believe in democracy. And I know that the Wales Green Party has been campaigning very strongly in favour of the step that this bill delivers, and I'm sure I'll be talking about them when I visit Cardiff next weekend. But I hope that everyone will agree that if we want to discuss British values, self-determination and the right for people to democratically decide both their own governance and have control over their own resources is indeed a British value. And I said this bill was timely because these are issues of great concern at the moment to the people of Greenland, the people of Panama, and as well as to the people of Wales. If we do believe in the increasingly battered principle of the international rules-based order, if we are to stand up against powerful forces opposed to that, working at speed to smash them both in their home countries and abroad, then this bill takes us in the right direction. Now, I also think it's worth looking at the context of, much discussed in your Lordship's House, of the recent Channel 4 report on Generation Z, those identified as those aged 13 to 27. The headline said that a majority of young people want the country to be a dictatorship. Now, actually, when you look into the detail of what the questions were asked, it's a little more complex than that. The questions asked about whether they favoured a strong leader who does not have to bother with Parliament and elections. And I would note that this is a point where young people are perhaps reflecting what we are hearing from the government and governing classes, given that we've just seen the abolition of a large number of elections being delivered by the government, and indeed a great deal of talk about elected mayors being strong leaders. So we might want to look at where these ideas are coming from. But I'd say before we give up on democracy, we should think about trying it. And what this bill actually does is delivers democracy for the people of Wales. Democracy is not just about voting, it's about deliberating, it's about being in control, able to collectively make decisions, the people who are most affected being able to make those decisions, benefiting from their own resources. And as been multiply commented, it is, of course, I believe, Labour Party in Wales policy to support this bill. Indeed. And I think it's worth noting the context, the very relevant context. The report stage of the Great British Energy Bill will be with your Lordship's House next week, and I understand that the government has finally made a concession on supporting community energy, something your Lordship's House has fought for again and again and backed again and again. I reserve the right for final judgment until I've seen the detail, but nonetheless this is a positive sign, and what Lord Wigley's bill would do would be to enable the delivery much more of community control, community energy in Wales, rather than just thinking about giant multinational companies operating with a far distant commissioners. And I think the final point that I'd want to make is that, of course, one of the things that this bill would do was, if it was delivered, then it would really highlight the remaining lack of democracy from the whole Crown Estate structure for England. And just a final response on the noble Lord Moynihan said this suggested that this might delay, but I would suggest this would greatly enhance and speed up the possibility of delivering that community energy, that democratic energy. So again, just to finally say, the strongest possible Green support for this, and I very much hope the noble Lord Wigley is able to hear from the noble Lord the Minister that this is all going to power ahead.